did someone tell me about this album early in the year and I just didn't pay attention or something? Like, I feel like I've needed this all year and no one has talked about it. This is weird. This has thrown my year-end list for a loop now. Like, seriously, I got to rethink my potential album of the year, because listening to this recently has been an absolute joy. Seba Kaapstad are a band that comprise of different nations and different cultures, which is something I always find really cool, because of course you have like people from Europe, people from Africa kind of coming together, having their own musical influences, their musical perspectives, their own life perspectives, sort of being all stirred into one big pot, and of course you get some really interesting music out of it. But I think the one genre that you would pin this down as is neo-soul, and I've got to say, neo-soul is one of those genres that I feel like a lot of music lovers just really like, but there isn't a lot of it that generally gets spoken about much. It sort of sits on the back burner a little bit. People obviously like it. There's a lot of accessibility to this kind of music, especially this album, I think, here. But you know, you only get your occasional ones that people get really hyped for. Anderson .Paak, I guess, Solange, Tyler the Creator with Igor. And yeah, you know what, this trumps all of those, which is probably no surprise for me, because I always seem to hype up albums that no one's really talking about unintentionally. I don't do it on purpose, it just seems to happen. There's some instrumental hip-hop influence on this album too. Some of the instrumentals are very much taken from like that jazzy sort of Madlib type stuff. You've got a bit of sort of Kendrick Lamar influence as well, I think, on this with To Pimp a Butterfly. The vibe is just incredibly positive, vibrant. It's just oozing with so much positivity that I can't really say no to it. Not only that, but the songs themselves are just incredibly well made. They're just so damn replayable. Like I haven't really stopped playing this since I heard it. Like I've just not been able to put it down. Every now and then I'm like, oh, what should I listen to? I was just like, stick this on. This is what I want to hear. I love how the singer's voice kind of works in so many different ways. Like you've got the very lush Don't track, which you know, the arrangements on this one are wonderful. But of course there are tracks like Africa that are a bit more upbeat, peppy, catchy, and again she brings out some incredible refrains that stick in you like just immediately. Like I did say, there's a bit of a hip-hop influence coming through on some of the tracks. Heckman particularly reminding me of something like How Much a Dollar Cost from To Pimp a Butterfly. Like the instrumental is so similar. I do wonder if that was a big influence for this track. Not to the point where it sounds like it's ripping it off or anything like that. I would never make those claims, but like yeah, it just reminds me of that feel, that sort of really kind of like insular feeling that you get when you listen to that track from Kendrick, and they just kind of pull it off here very well. And that sort of warmness that this album brings as well does remind me a lot of like some stuff that you get from No Name, actually. And I know I'm doing a bit of name dropping here, but I'm just trying to sell this album as much as I can, just to get people to be really interested in this music, because of course I don't know if it really has that much of an audience, but making these comparisons might just make you think, maybe I should be checking this out. The track Rfre or Free is one of the biggest highlights on the whole thing here. I could pick so many out, so many tracks that highlights on this, honestly, but this one sticks out incredibly well. This is just like neo-soul down to a T. Like they have nailed this sound, and it's like their only album, by the way, as well. Like this is their first album. I feel like they've just hit it out the park straight away. It's really impressive. I just wonder where they're going to go from here, because these tracks are just so bloody well produced. You'd think they had like the biggest budget in the world or whatever, but nah, it's just incredible talent. Like that's all it takes. Just, you know, there's so much talent just all coming together to create these incredibly well-made songs. The track Dezaster, I think, is a really interesting track, because this is one that's a bit more impassioned and coming from the heart, with the lyrics here talking about a loss of someone. And I like the way that the singer like makes a reference to it being a disaster, because it's not the kind of language you ever really hear in regards to a death of someone. But when you think about it, it is almost like a disaster, but yet you don't really call it that. And I think that kind of language just really like makes a track hold so much weight and so much power to it when you hear the way she's singing these words. And then the ending with the beautiful like so long repetition. That part's just so wholesome. I would honestly say the only miss on the album is probably Breathe, because the verses, the instrumental kind of sounds a bit gooey and a bit all over the place. It is a bit of a weird moment. But then once you get into the chorus is great. So I just kind of feel a bit sad that the verses are as weak as they are, because this is the only point on the album where I'm thinking like, it's also a bit disjointed as well. The transition from the verse to the chorus is a bit weird. But you know what? It's not like it completely drags the album down, because honestly, this whole thing is just amazing to my ears. I feel like anyone checking this album out will probably think it's good, or, you know, maybe great. But for some reason, this album is just hitting me so hard. Like, it's like I've been waiting for this album all year, and it's just never come, and somehow I stumbled across it right at the end of the year in December. It's so hard to pick out any flaws aside from the track Breathe. Like, the tracks are just so immaculate, and the performances are brilliant. Like I said, this is messing up my year-end list, because this is an easy album of the year contender right here. Like, seriously going to be top 5, I think, when I sit down to think about my list properly. So yeah, that's as high as praise I can give as any. This is a 9 out of 10 from me. Again, I don't know if you'll quite love it as much as that, but I think you'll definitely at least like it. Like, if you've been itching for some neo soul all year and you haven't quite got as much as you wanted, please listen to this. Hopefully my description sells this album to you, and hopefully you're gonna check it out based on that. So yeah, let me know what you think. Have a good day. Subscribe if you haven't already. Listen to this album, please. Have a day.